My name is Julie Boonstra, and 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with leukemia. I found out that I only have a 20% chance of surviving. My insurance was canceled because of Obamacare. Now, the out-of-pocket costs are so high, it's unaffordable. If I do not receive my medication, I will die.
That is almost certainly one of the most effective political ads of the cycle so far. There are some problems with it, which we'll detail in a moment. The ad was produced by Americans for Prosperity, the dark money group funded by the Koch brothers, in an effort to attack Democratic Congressman Gary Peters, who is running against Republican Terry Lynn Land in the hotly contested Michigan Senate race to replace retiring Democratic Senator Carl Levin. Americans for Prosperity is coming off of a $1 million 3-week spending spree against Peters, which is a lot of money to spend 9 months before Election Day. And of course, what they're trying to do here is tie Gary Peters to Obamacare and make that the central issue of the campaign, as they tried to do in Florida 13. But soon after the ad came out, lawyers for Congressman Peters wrote to television stations asking them to demand verification for the claims being made. And Senator Harry Reid pushed back on the Senate floor, specifically calling out the Koch brothers.
The leukemia patient whose insurance policy was canceled would die without her medication. Mr. President, that's an ad being paid for by 2 billionaire brothers. It's absolutely false.
Some conservatives responded by accusing Democrats of, quote, declaring war on cancer patients. And Julie Boonstra herself, the cancer patient in the ad, came out with another ad, this one titled Gary Peters' War on a Brave Woman.
When I heard that Congressman Peters was going after my credibility, it was devastating. I just want Congressman Peters to help me, to listen to me. Instead, he's trying to silence me.
She also went on Fox News to talk about how her insurance had been canceled and her new Obamacare plan was unaffordable. But here's the thing, and if you've watched these before, you probably know where I'm going with this. The Detroit News talked to Boonstra after deciding which plan under Obamacare she wanted to go with ultimately, and discovered that, and I'm quoting, the new plan will save her at least $1,200 compared with her former insurance plan she preferred. While it is true, her new plan appears to have a higher deductible and thus higher out-of-pocket costs until she hits that deductible, her monthly premium is dramatically lower. Under her old plan, she was paying $1,100 a month in premiums. Under her new plan, according to a rep for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, Boonstra would pay $571 a month. But in what is perhaps serves as the single most fitting summary of the entire contentious story of Obamacare's passage and implementation, when told about the details and the savings, Boonstra said, and I quote, "Can't be true. I personally do not believe that." Joining me now, Jonathan Cohn, senior editor of The New Republic, who's been covering this story. He's also author of Sick, The Untold Story of America's Healthcare Crisis and the People Who Pay the Price. That's it, Jonathan. That's the whole Obamacare fight to me in a nutshell. I do not believe it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really quite remarkable. You know, I was about 2 hours ago, we had the local news on. You know, I live in Michigan, and there was the new ad, and it's been everywhere. And, you know, it is impervious to facts, it seems. You know, everybody, I think, feels for this woman. She's got cancer. Everybody wishes her the best. But, you know, these claims, they make, you know, people, opponents of the healthcare law, they make these claims, they get debunked, and they keep coming out. And I think responsibility for that, frankly, does belong with Americans for Prosperity, with the Koch brothers, not just for spreading these false claims, but, you know, what are they telling these people like Julie Boonstra when they come to them? Are they bothering to explain to them, you know, hey, guess what? You have good insurance options out there. Are they helping these people, or are they just using them as props?
Think about the psychology here of encountering someone who is in a terrible health situation, one that I agree, I think everyone feels tremendous empathy for, and rather than being like, well, actually, let's actually look at these plans and see what we've got here, to say, you know what, let's make an ad, and let's make in that ad that you're losing your doctor. And this is another part that's key here. Americans for Prosperity confirms Boonstra was able to find a plan that had her doctor in its network. That's the crucial claim at the center of the whole thing. The scary, terrifying disruption that everyone fears is you will lose your doctor, and that is not true in this case.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think everybody who understands the law would readily concede that the law is not perfect. There are people who end up with plans they don't always like, but it is sort of amazing. Almost every single story we see like this, you just push at it a little bit and the claims fall apart. And it makes you wonder if they're having this much trouble finding people who have real, genuine, heart-rending stories. Maybe, is it just possible, maybe the law isn't as bad as they say?
And yet, I would say in defense of Ms. Boonstra, one thing I think that also comes through here is disruption is disruption even when disruption might be better. And I think there is a natural part of folks that if you're in the midst of cancer treatment, any change seems scary, and there's a very powerful impulse that's being leveraged right now on the right to make that the key thing that people think about along with care. It is change, it is disruption.
No question about it. And again, you know, I think if the claim here was that, look, I didn't want to change my plan and I'm angry about that,
right,
you know, that's a legitimate claim. But you know what? That also needs to be weighed against the fact that just today we learned 140,000 people in Michigan, 4 million people nationwide have gotten health insurance through the new exchanges. A lot of those people never had insurance before. There's a lot of good in this law, and that needs to be weighed against the disruption.
Jonathan Cohn from the New Republic, thanks so much.